the guests. I think one more. Okay, very nice. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Paola Cacciatori, Artelize's co-founder and chief commercial officer, and I'll be your host today, again, after the panel we host in January. So whether you joined us for Rethinking Audience Engagement Part 1, and show me a little heart in the chat, perhaps, so I can see how many of you were there. Very nice. Okay, did you find the chat? And whether this is your first Artelize event, you can give a thumbs up. We're thrilled to have you here for part 2, called Presenting the Ultimate Audience Engagement Tech Infrastructure. But before we dive into today's topics, I'd like to introduce my partners in crime, aka the experts on the show, who will guide us through today's journey. First, a familiar face to many of you. You recognize Sune Hjerrild, the founder and CEO of Artelize. Welcome back, Sune. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm very fine. Hello.
And then we have Pilgaard Carlsen, our co-founder and head of product. Jan was operating some intricate tech behind the scenes at our last panel. He was with us, but today he's here in the spotlight. So hello, Jan. It's great to have you on screen this time.
Yes. Thank you, Paola. I'm super pumped to be here too.
Fantastic. Last but not least, behind the scenes, we have Isabel Pigagnol, Artelize's acquisition and growth manager. Isabel will be moderating the chat and fielding your questions all along the webinar, filtering the most relevant ones so our experts can answer them in context. Please make sure to submit your questions in the Q&A bubble next to the chat. So as mentioned in our invite, we have an exciting offer that provides immediate value to you. All attendees get 25% off their first Artelize subscription. Plus, we'll share a sneak peek of a customized report predicting the potential revenue increase you could achieve by using Artelize over a 12-month period. Make sure to stay till the end to catch all the free insights and all the important announcements. Now, let's dive right into it and let's have a look to what you'll get out of this webinar. Let me share my screen. Yes. So now, as you can see, we will make sure that at the end of this webinar, you will gain insights into finding how to find new audience, identifying the weak spots in the audience building process, meaning engagement, retention, measurements, and analysis up till conversion, and what solutions are available to you today. And lastly, understanding how merchandise can play a crucial role in engaging, retaining, and incentivizing your audience segments. So let's start with the first part of this webinar. So when it comes to attracting and engaging new audiences, would you consider these to be the current best practices? And please give me a little sign of resonance in the chat if you agree. So again, when it comes to attract and engage new audiences, we would normally focus on programming. Who does that? Programming, also innovative programming. Very nice. Or focusing on a new website, perhaps trying to optimize it. Again, social media campaigns. Some of us are pretty keen on that. And lastly, SEO enhancement. How many have been implementing that? So probably also, as far as I can see, this the programming is even the most common solution that we're using, and this is pretty much confirmed by the leaders in the field. So let's quickly listen to a short clip featuring Aubrey Bergauer.
current state of audience engagement, I have a couple thoughts on that. One, we know the trends right now are everybody's trying to get their audiences back. And the reality is those trends of declining audiences were in place before the pandemic. That just accelerated and exacerbated trends we were already seeing. So here we are. And I would say parallel to that thought of combating the existing trend that was already in place is that a lot of us, a lot of organizations, a lot of us as administrators, I think have really focused on programming as a solution. And not to say that there's not a conversation to be had about programming and diversifying and expanding and all of that that's necessary, but it's not a full and complete solution. And so I would say audience engagement is about almost everything tangential to the programming. And
okay. So as we were saying, this is pretty much confirmed by the leaders in the industry. So Sune, I would like to ask you, could you share what inspired you to create Artelize and the main challenges you wanted to solve with this platform?
Yes, of course, Paola, I would love to. What we saw back then and still see is the huge gap between certain audience segments and the classical performing arts scene. This part of our industry desperately needs a younger and more diverse audience. We hear that all the time, to become more sustainable and also to foresee a secure future. As a former opera singer, I'm super passionate about this, of course. But our work the last decade has given me reason to be optimistic. I see that technology can really change something and really change this, that some would say, downward spiral that we experience in the industry, and perhaps even help us into a new renaissance for the performing arts. So the disconnect that I talk about is mostly caused by the confusing and fragmented way information is distributed to our potential audience. Every arts organization is a little desert island in the sea of information, and you have to know your way there actually already to find it. And unfortunately, that doesn't bring a new audience. That brings you an old or your regular audience back to you, in best case. So we thought, why not make it super easy and accessible by collecting everything in one place? Inspired by the huge platforms like IMDb, which is the #1 go-to for the movie industry. And then the problem is, till now, no one thought of making an IMDb for the performing arts. So we simply had to build it. On our discovery platform that we have built, our equivalent to IMDb for the world of performing arts, there are two strong forces driving the audience your way, actually in the direction of our clients. The effect of millions of relevant pages systematically optimized for search engines like Google. And secondly, the strong cross-pollination between the different art forms, artists and events. Ranking high on millions of keywords in Google searches also brings a new audience by the millions. That's our recipe. And now, something that you should really pay attention to. 40% of our visitors are between the age of 18 and 39. So a super young audience in comparison to the industry norm. Furthermore, on cross-pollination, once our audience visits our platform, they also discover other exciting events or artists. Actually, 40% of them click on other events than the one that they came for originally. So that's cross-pollination in action.
Amazing. So Sune, could you explain how this cross-pollination of genres and content helps single organizations find new audiences? Perhaps you could also show us how this happens on the platform.
Certainly. Well, yeah. So I hope I'm now sharing the screen here. Everything on Artelize, in fact, is designed to accommodate that discovery factor. and retention. So when you land on any page, and here in this case, we could take an example. If you are interested in jazz, then you would probably want to see Marcus Miller play with the Nashville Symphony Orchestra. And there you would already go through the page here. You would see, okay, yeah, he's playing here, but there are other events going on in that area. Maybe you can see what's going on in Regent Park. Yes, there's Cypress Hill performs Black Sunday. Or let's say if you are really into Angel Blue, let's say that, and you go over her page and you stumble upon all the things that she's doing, all the different places she's performing. You might also say, okay, but Carmen in New York, that sounds like a really, really nice thing. Then you come to the Metropolitan page, and Carmen, maybe that was your first choice here. Then you look, of course, you look at all the other participants. Then you have a chance to even go further and find even more things, and using the map to find other stuff. And the fun thing about, yes, programming does actually matter, because in this crossover, all of a sudden, oh, Carmen Burana, that rings a bell. I saw that in a movie once. So that's how it works with the cross-pollination.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And Sune, at Artelize, we do invest heavily, I must say, in SEO. So could you elaborate on why optimizing for search engines is crucial, not only for our platform, but also for our users? And again, it'd be great to see some example, particularly of killer features, I would call them, implemented for that purpose.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So first of all, Google is really horrible in finding events in general, unless you know what you're looking for. The importance of high ranking on Google is no secret to anyone. So it is really an engine if it works, but it's very difficult to get there, and it's a very costly affair. And that's why a platform like Artelize, which gathers millions of high ranking keywords and even key sentences, is so important to the overall visibility of our industry. We are quite simply putting ourselves as an industry on the map so people can easily find us and interact with us, not least. But now to the killer feature. I'm still sharing my screen here. This is what we call Artelize articles. And they are actually, the aggregation of data that we do with AI, and we gather in record speed everything that goes on in the industry. In this way, we can make fantastic, you could say, aggregated articles about what's going on. Here is Tchaikovsky that we described, what's going on the Tchaikovsky scene. And with direct ticket links to the institutions, with the links to the people participating, all of these participants are getting really visible. And that's an SEO-driven discovery effect that we give to our clients. It's extremely effective. And I would say, I guess it is a very strong alternative to the very expensive PR companies and SEO experts that really cost thousands and thousands of dollars. In this way, we already deliver a new audience directly to your doorstep out there. And it's happening right here now without you lifting a finger. So this alone is already a very good reason to subscribe to Artelize.
Okay, Sune, I have actually a question for you. So some of our attendees and also clients ask, so when it comes to the competition, right? So from being on the same platform, how would an arts organization gain more audience if the competitors are also sharing their season on the same platform?
Yeah, very good question, and I think that's the first thought we all get in a competition situation. But the truth is, there's no competition. The competition is that you have different repertoire. You have different artists in your seasons. There are different times that you're doing your stuff, and your audience they choose from their taste and from the artists they want to see, from the musical work or whatever it is that they want to see, and from timing and not least also from a financial perspective, can they afford it this month to go and see you? So in actual fact, you are all benefiting from being visible in this platform and actually rubbing off each other's shoulders instead of being little desert islands that you all have to work super hard to get the audience in. A platform like this is actually helping you. It's not making the competition harder.
Thank you, Sune. I think that's very important, absolutely, very clear. But now, I would like to share with our attendees another short clip from Bart van der Rost, Secretary General of the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra of Liège, about what happens when your audience is highly engaged and really, really, really want to belong.
Our last season next year, and we were trying out a new emailing system, and all of a sudden we did something wrong, but we didn't know about that. So we blasted out an email to what the so-called superfans, or the 400 or 500 people that we have that are responsible for the majority of all our ticket sales. And we blasted out the email system with everything okay, pricing, subscription prices, and so on, except the programming. And we didn't know about that as well, but yeah, people started subscribing, started buying tickets for stuff they didn't know. We only found out 3 weeks after. In the meanwhile, we sold about 3,000 to 4,000 tickets over the season. And what you see there is actually people said, yeah, I don't care what you actually play. I want to be with you. I want to be part of the family. I want to be there when the magic happens. And this is something I already understood beforehand. I'm not saying that programming is not important. Programming is important for your image and so on, but it's far, far, far more important that you have an authentic connection with the people around you, and that's something.
I'd say super important, right? Very golden pill. And this leads us to the first poll of this webinar, which is exactly about the audience. So I encourage everybody to participate. And it's titled Talk to Your Audience. So how often do you interview your audience for feedback purposes? Never, rarely, often, all the time. So please feel free. I will allow a few seconds for you guys to vote. Very nice. And I think we're getting, yes. Okay. Still incoming. Yes, I will give it a little bit more seconds. Okay, so now I will share with you the results. And you can see that actually rarely and often are pretty much at the same percentage. And okay, but it's still very positive, I would say, Sune. What's your comment on that?
Yeah, I'm glad to see that it's more commonplace to ask your audience and be customer centric. That's extremely important.
And something is changing. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
So as we heard also from Bart's take, why is it crucial to engage with the new audience as early as possible? And especially Sune, I'm asking you, what is Artelize's offer to instigate such a relationship?
Yes, actually we have a special feature here because yes, it is extremely important to engage as early as you possibly can with your new audience. And one of the things that we're doing, of course, we have up here the follow function, so people can get notifications about what's going on and be reminded, because it's so important to get reminded about what's going on. And so you don't forget to buy the ticket. That might be something you're really interested in. But when they click here on buy ticket, we have a little feature. Actually, this is we can sort of assume that if you click on that one, it's not because you know already the Mets website. Then you would have gone there and bought the ticket. So we can assume it's a relatively new newcomer to your organization. So you can actually, you have a chance here, even before you even did your first transaction, to greet them, say, welcome, we are thrilled to have you, that you, for your interest, and you can also write something here. You can give them an offer. You can say, because you buy the ticket here for the first time, we give you 10% discount. Here's the code. And so you really welcome these newcomers. And of course, you can also incentivize them to write their email and follow you for the future, and give them maybe some incentive to do that. So and of course, then they continue directly to your ticket system. So there's no intermediate there. We are not taking any cut or anything. What we are here for is to make sure we have engagement and retention. That's what we are here for.
Very clear, Sune. Thank you very much. And now here's an exclusive offer for those of you joining us live today. So imagine having the ability to predict and enhance your revenue growth over the next year. Well, that's exactly what Artelize offers to you today. Aubrey Bergauer, the Steve Jobs of the arts management, has chosen to work with Artelize. This is because of its unmatched support that aligns perfectly with the needs of arts organizations to grow their audience sustainably. So please take advantage of our special deal now. Book a meeting today. Check the chat. Isabel is dropping the link to secure your spot. Also, of course, lock in the 25% discount on your next subscription, and receive a free customized revenue forecast that shows your potential revenue. Yes, Jan is showing that to us. Your potential revenue increase over the next 12 months using Artelize's innovative tools. Subscribing is straightforward with a monthly payment option. You can cancel anytime. So it's a really low risk and high reward opportunity. Building an audience, it is though a long-term endeavor. And there's no better time to start than yesterday. So especially as many of you are planning for the upcoming season, act today and set your organization on a path to sustainable growth. Again, you can find the meeting link in the chat. Now, let's dive into the second part of this webinar, and let's see, because you know that was not it. We have just scratched the surface. So let's now discover what is it possible to do on Artelize, and let's explore the brand new Pro tools. So about that, I have another clip from our beloved Bart, where we are highlighting, or he is highlighting, how guessing rather than using a data-driven approach can be very misleading sometimes.
Please ask them an awful lot. So everybody who comes in before and after, we ask what are the expectations of beforehand, and afterwards, did we match the expectations? We also ask literally face to face, as I told you earlier. And one thing I can show you, we didn't see it ourselves, but our ticketing system actually showed there is a decline in your audiences for families. And we had a Saturday afternoon family series, and we had a Tuesday night for younger audiences. And we just didn't know. And we, as Aubrey earlier stated, we started talking about the product. It's wrong. We need to change the conductor or whatever, or we need to only do Mozart, or we need to do anything but Mozart. But then we asked the audience, why are you slowly but steadily stopping to come to our concerts? And the answer was really surprising. Yeah, because my kids have other stuff to do. I have to go to basketball. I have to go grocery shopping. If you just move the series to Sunday, I'll come again. And so this is a typical thing where we actually were almost at the point of changing what we were doing. It was not a product problem. It was a marketing or a sort of a connection problem. We switched the series to Sunday, and it went up again.
Yes, we love that example. And also I have another little poll actually have two polls for our attendees regarding exactly data-driven data-driven approach. So first of all, let's start with the customer's journey. Okay. Just a moment. Let me see if I can get back to it. I just have a little. Okay. Give me a little second. Maybe we will start with the use of AI first. Okay. Doesn't allow me to launch anymore. I don't know why. Just a moment. I don't know. I have a little glitch, unfortunately. So maybe Sune, would you mind trying to launch them on your hand? We have the customer journey and the AI poll. Even Zoom.
Yes, I'm trying, but it won't allow me to click the launch. Okay. So I don't know.
Okay, then we need to skip it. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
That's a shame, but let's move on. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Or maybe Jan, you can fix
we can maybe do it orally, perhaps, and then people can.
Yeah, as well. Sure, down. I can read it and you can. Yeah, that's a good idea, and you can answer in the chat, right? So the customer journey is about. So is your customer's journey supported by data evidence? Yes or no? I repeat it. So is your customer's journey supported by data evidence? Yes or no? Yes-ish. Very nice.
Yeah, there's one flaw here. It's not anonymous. So of course, yes, we hope we can get it running. Maybe Jan, you can look at it and see if you can get it running again.
Okay. I think we got a bit of answers already. So maybe we can take also the question on the AI just to to see what people do with it. So the use of AI, how often do you use AI in your work? Very often, sometimes, never. Oh, okay, that's gone. No, that is running, isn't it? Yes, it is.
It was
very
because
nice. Thank you, Jan.
We didn't end the previous poll.
Ah, okay, yes. I see. Okay, that was my bad then. Thank you, Jan. You're the tech guy, really. Very nice. Okay, maybe I will launch the customer journey as well. Anyway, it takes very little time. Let me end this poll about the use of AI. I will share the results and sometimes wins, as you can see. Now let's do the customer journey very quickly. Yes, there you go. Now you should be able to see it. Let's allow a few seconds.
And based on the answers we got from Candy, Leico Marketing and others, we need a I don't know or other or in between,
that's
or
true.
yes-ish.
That's true. It's a little bit, the yes-ish.
little binary, yes.
Yeah. Very nice. Okay. Still coming in. All right. Very nice. Okay. So this is what we get. It's actually even. Yes and no. Very nice. Okay. But now, Jan, let's say I'm an arts organization actively engaging and starting to retain a new audience. I've tried various strategies to convert these people into a loyal customer and hopefully into donors. I do have some metrics, but I haven't been quite consistent, I must confess. And often it feels like I'm back at square one with no real progress in conversion. So could you kindly show us how to become more data-driven? Because when we talk to arts organizations like the ones that we're hosting today, it's really tactical advice that they're looking for.
Yes, thank you, Paola. Yes, you know, tactical is the fun stuff. But before you can become tactical, you need to be a little strategic, as I think everybody knows. So let me share my screen with a little slide that tries to cover our subject here. Is that visible? Yes, it is. So this is the tech landscape we meet at the organizations we discuss with, talk to, have as customers. And you could say this is the ideal landscape. No one really has this, but many have a lot of it, and some have very little of it. And it's not like it's a one size fits all, and it takes time to build this up. This is not something you get established over a year. You know, you need to try stuff, try it out. That's a good system for us. Let's move forward. You know, the most horrendous story I've heard, and poor those guys that worked with a university campus ticketing system. They got a weekly report just summarizing, you sold 80 tickets. Okay, nice to know. And they had email marketing. I think everybody at this webinar knows that won't cut it. You need to do a little more than that if you want to move forward. What is really important is process ownership. It's super important that you own all these processes. It doesn't mean that you cannot have software helping you, but it must be internalized in the organization. There must be someone responsible for it. You cannot outsource your marketing. It will not be easy to manage and control and measure. Data ownership is equally important. You need to own the data that drives your processes. And of course, ticketing is driving the whole bit. You need to issue tickets. You go through this funnel, then analytics is the last advanced layer that measures your processes. How is it going? How is it improving? So I think many of you know lots of these systems. I won't sit here and say use Hootsuite for SoMe management, etc. But it's just to give that overview. This is sort of the full circle. And then you mentioned customer journey, because that is the customer journey we want to measure. That is actually the way people move through our organization. It is not the way we want them to move. It is the way they're actually moving. That's a very important point. And that is super hard to figure out. It's super hard to have a vision of how you would like them to move. It's a lot harder to figure out how they actually move. They're actually just asking them down in the hall won't really give you, it will give you a lot of anecdotal evidence, but not real hardcore evidence. And this example is that it tracks 3 steps before a conversion event, such as becoming a super fan. Then you actually know this is the journey that works the best. Don't focus on this journey. You will waste your money and effort. Focus on this big fat journey and maybe a little bit on this. And then you will actually get the real fast results by focusing your energy here. That is this customer journey thinking coming from product. You know, tech uses it all the time, but it's hard to do when you're in the real world with live people interacting with you. And you mentioned metrics, Paola. And now this is not to scare anyone, but it can look scary. But metrics are, you know, there are many metrics you can measure. And every time you need to focus on sort of a North Star you can work on, or else it simply becomes a crazy project that will never end, and it will become an IT project more than an audience engagement project. So I highlight 2 green metrics here that have a tendency of driving a lot more value than other metrics. I mentioned, we have the occupancy rate. You all know that. And sometimes you look at your occupancy rate and say, oh my God, no. And sometimes it looks good. Bart had some examples where it looks good, but sometimes it's also too late to do something about it, actually. You can hand out free tickets, you can give crazy offers and throw tickets in away, but you can't fix that late. You have to work with your audience engagement. And many of you have heard about newcomer retention can be one of those levers of disproportionate influence that actually drives almost all of it other. If you have amazing newcomer retention, your occupancy goes up, your customer acquisition cost goes down, your lifetime value goes up, etc. Your number of subscribers go up, your number of donors go up. This is actually one of the biggies you should maybe start with. And then I mentioned this other predicted segment movements. then here you might say, oh, that sounds complicated, and that it is. That is super complicated. That is what it means is that is looking at the customer journey and mapping. These people are about to do the same thing as people we have seen do something before, therefore they're likely to become a donor, or therefore they're likely to not be a customer anymore. So you really need to work on that. And as Paola mentioned, I think you indicated it earlier, this is not something that stops happening just because you don't have events. People are still there. They're still thinking about stuff. They're still behaving in the real world. So this is actually a continuous work year round that you have to do and have to be creative about. And then, of course, behind all of this lies data. And those of you who are our customers know how easy it is to drop the data in our system. If you can get them out of your own systems, you can drop them in our system. There is no kind of cleanup needed. That's where AI really does a lot of heavy lifting. We simply figure out what the data says. You can drop anything here, a list of donors, ticket sales, whatever. Then we figure it out. And then it ends up, let me share Artelize. So in a moment, we have a little, I think Bart, we have to send him flowers. We have another little Bart clip in a moment that explains some of the movements we're doing in here. But once you've dropped your data, it depends on how much data you have, but in an ideal scenario, you get something like this after a little bit of time. So we have two kinds of segmentations, engagement segmentation, so super fans down to low engagement. We have some graphs with some important metrics, and then we have the patron type segmentation. That's maybe more classical. Some of the performing arts or non-profit CRM support that kind of segmentation, at least on paper. And we have breakdowns, so we can see here under single ticket buyers, who are they? There are some first-time buyers, 130, and this is a demo organization. This is not data from anyone real. This is the Artelize Orchestra. And we have some metrics telling us some insights that can drive our creativity. For instance, 29 days since their average time since their last purchase. If I haven't done anything yet, it's about due time. And we have all those segmentations. But now, before I show about the actions, because that's fine to know this. You need to do something about it. And we also have a system that supports your actions. But I have that other Bart quote. And now I do think that I started sharing without sharing sound. So let me know. I did that, so one moment. I'll share again. Can you see our good friend Bart there? No, you see my system.
Slack.
Yes. One moment again. There he is. That's a little better. And he says some fun things about orchestrating the whole organization, so to speak.
For the first time, I know who is on which seats and what type of buyer it is. I go to him or her, say, what are you doing here? How are you? How can we help you? And I think this is an attitude that we have not only in the staff, but also in our musicians and also in everybody who has an interaction with the audience. And I think, that helps. So our sales department is not the 2-3 people that do the marketing and sales, but it's actually the whole organization plus everybody around it. And I think that's the sweet spot where you're now at. And what you should strive for, I think.
Yeah, so let's look at the actions. He's exactly talking about those actions. So I don't know if some of you spotted, sorry, I have to jump over here. If you spotted the small AI symbols we have here, expert suggestions. So we trained a model that has learned a lot about what you have to do and what is normally done and what works and what doesn't. That suggests what you can do. And I'll come back to what the really cool thing about it is. You can also do your own ideas. It's not like you are limited by the ideas suggested by this system. But let's say here on low engagement, there's actually someone here who could churn. That's again, the journey shows that they're about to repeat the same journey as people who churned earlier. So I can view the actions here. And it actually, I actually have a done action here that was simply a 2-event 50% package. This is not rocket science, you know these offers, you do them all the time. But the interesting thing is to lock this offer, And the interesting thing is to get the support also for doing it. So I actually I'm able to get my emails drafted. You know, we just surveyed, have you been using AI? I guess many of you there, it will be ChatGPT you have used to get started on some copywriting. We have integrated these systems with our data and your events data and the mission you are trying to accomplish. So you get an email drafted here. You might want to change it, but it's actually 90% done. And the whole segment of the people you need to address is also lying ready. So you can just upload it in your marketing system and shoot this email. So it's really easy to do these actions. Here is the orchestrator part of it. There's a system whereby you can invite, for instance, the soloists to market an event, or if it's this churn behavior, you can actually make a campaign that targets these people in the right way via social media in this case. So the last thing, Paola, I will be showing is our other promotional tools that are also about the actions. You can see there's here share social media post. It's social media stuff. So we have a tool that it's again about getting started. It's not to do all the creative work. It's to get the 90% done. Now I have with our beautiful Artelize orchestra here that's based in LA. They have an Eroica. So we made a campaign for that. So it tries to figure out what a good timeline is. And it actually allows you to generate the content now I generated. They have an amazing team there with Carlsen and Cacciatori playing Paola. So get ready for that. But so we have that ready. You can just copy it and you know, there's a lot of stuff just lying at your feet. I think that was more or less a good answer on your question, Paola.
Well, I'm even overwhelmed.
A long one, at least.
But I am even overwhelmed. So most importantly, I think what it's evident from this is that everything happens in one place, and that's the meaning of the tech infrastructure, right? So that's what we want our attendees to get. So I get my metrics in order, a great overview of the segments, and even I get inputs for an actionable strategy with the goal of moving my segments towards a higher level of engagement and, of course, conversion. So this is how to turn the weakest parts of the audience engagement process. And so normally, exactly as our guest said, inconsistent data tracking and analysis into a strong opportunity to really nail the goal. So now I would like to introduce another topic, and Sune, I will need you for that. But yeah, first, before I ask you the next question, let's zoom in for a moment into those highly engaged segments that Jan also highlighted, those segments of the audience, so-called super fans. And let's hear another micro clip from Christine Osatsua, founder and CEO of Measure of Music and Music Influencer, on what it means to be a super fan.
I love superfans. I love talking about superfans. I got my start running straight teams for artists when I was young, so I've always understood the power of activating your fan base and identifying those loyal fans as early as possible and rewarding them. And so what I believe a superfan is someone that has gone beyond just a lover of the music or a lover of the company or whatever it might be, but to the point where they're evangelizing it, where they're very loyal, where they're repeat buying, repeat attending, repeat listening. When I was at Label, one of the metrics that we looked at was streaming, obviously. And what we found at the time, this was years ago, but one of the metrics we found was that the top 5% of listeners were accounting for about 50% of all the streams. That number has shifted and changed over time, but it's still a very small amount, account for a very large amount of streams, basically. And that translates everything. I'm sure everyone's heard the 80-20 rule, and to take that for what it may be for your super fans, but there's a small core of your audience that love you, that evangelize you, that are accounting for all of your money, all of your revenue, all of the time spent, all of the commitment. And those are the people that are incredibly important that you need to cultivate, because if you're doing things well, they're going to be your evangelists. They're going to tell their friends. They're going to refer people over. They're going to do all the things that you do when you love something. And so,
yes, so extremely valuable. And that leads us to some merchandise, and I have a little poll, the last one, so I will quickly run it, and There it is. So I will go back and so we're talking about online merch. The question is, are you already selling it? Are you considering selling it? Or you're not selling it at all? Allowing a little bit of time for you guys to answer. Okay. Very interesting.
I do know that Candy over at Bayfield are selling it. Is selling it, sorry. That was
somebody is selling it, as a matter of fact. I can anticipate that. Yes. And I think we're getting there. No more? Okay. So we got actually the not selling it as the 60% of answers. And this is particularly important because Sune, can we explain why merch is so important, even for the classical performing arts, for audience engagement today?
Yes, and I'll just share my screen again. Yes, merchandise plays a much bigger role than most of our clients think initially. As Christina said in this very nice quote, the super fans are playing a bigger and bigger role. We all know that our subscribers, we love our subscribers, we love them, the ones that come again and again. The super fans is also the ones buying merch, going that extra mile, talking about us, getting all a new audience through our door. So they are super important. But the one thing that is most important is that you have to track it. You have to track who's actually buying it. So online sales is the only thing that matters. Yeah, I would actually say it's more important than the revenue you get from the sale, because you get to get an insight that is worth so much more than a t-shirt. So yeah, that's the role merch plays, and that's why, of course, it also plays a role on Artelize. We have related merch. This could also be your merch with your branding, your own thing, but that you can use, of course, also to get in touch and incentivize your audience. And what happens, of course, if I go here, I was on a page about opera, so it's opera related stuff. If you go to our shop, it's ballet, it's I love Beethoven, all the fun stuff here that people love to wear and show that they care about our industry, that they care about the art forms. It's really, you know how it is. People are really passionate about this. And this is a way to incentivize. So why not give everyone who wears your t-shirt at your event a glass of champagne, and perhaps meet and greet with the performers, and then make them feel really special and appreciated. It's an amazing PR, and the next step, perhaps to a donation, a new subscriber, or an influencer on social media. So start paying attention to the role of merch.
Absolutely. You never know who you're dealing with, right? It could be literally a potential donor or somebody on his way to become a super fan. And we know this happens quite often with the performing arts. People completely unaware that become like crazy about what they have seen, especially if you have great shows, which I believe you have. So basically, merch can get your segments, your audience segments moving towards, again, higher engagement and conversion, whilst at the same time, of course, providing revenue. So what is Artelize doing to accommodate this new relationships, the new relationship to the fans, Sune?
Yes, basically what we do is to make sure that we have all these, you can say, retention functionality ready, that you can follow, get notification, be on top of what's going on in your arts organization. And that's also something we provide for you, a new, let's say, a new line or a new bridge that we give to you as a client of Artelize. So we are standing on these two legs. One leg is all the things that you don't have to touch, actually, where it happens all by itself. People are coming your way. We're making sure the SEO is great. We're making sure that this new connection is there. And then once you take over, once they're starting the first acquisition and they are in your fold, then we also help you to act accordingly, act in time before someone churns, before someone an opportunity for someone actually to become a donor or to go somewhere and become an important audience member for you, that you actually do the job every day. It doesn't help to sit there and look at these numbers once a year. Oh yeah, oh shit, it didn't go so well. What to do next year? Okay, we'll do better next year. No, it doesn't help. It's a week by week, month by month, hard work, but also we are doing the heavy lifting. And that's also the role of AI. Many of you asked us, what is the role of AI? How can we harness this that many people are a little afraid of? We are included, but it's about using it in the right way for the good of humanity, for the good of performing arts, for the good of the new renaissance that we can all be a part of. That's why you should choose to be part of Artelize, and that's why you should choose to have a meeting with us individually so we can start our collaboration with you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sune. And thank you everybody for joining us today. We hope that we gave you all the insights you were looking for. It was pretty tough to prepare this in such a short time, but I hope that was a complete set of information. I think you got a lot of insights. Let me thank you, especially our experts, Sune and Yen, that now we can affectionately call Sunny and Johnny in the American version, I would say, for sharing their invaluable insights. And also a huge shout out to Isabel, my dedicated helper, for managing the chat so smoothly. Of course, we appreciate your time and engagement throughout this webinar. Be aware that a recording of today's session will be available for you to review and perhaps share with colleagues who couldn't attend. And this is, of course, as Sune said, your chance to dive deeper into what Artelize can do for your organizations. So don't miss out on this opportunity to book a one-on-one meeting with our team and explore actually personalized solutions, because we know you're all different arts organizations. And most importantly, receive your free revenue forecast for a 1 year period of time. Again, Isabel is dropping the meeting link in the chat so you can act right away. And also, we're very excited to announce that we will be at the League of American Orchestras conference in Houston from June 6th to 8th. Visit us at booth 30, where we'll offer bubbles, quizzes, and prizes, especially selected amongst our beautiful sustainable merchandise. I have my cup here, as you can see. And yes, from our brand new shop that you have seen before. So for more insights and updates, make sure to follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, and check out our podcast. Next episode, by the way, will contain Bart van der Rost's full story with all those amazing pills, really expanded for you guys. And we're here to support your journey in audience engagement every step of the way. So thank you again, and we hope to connect with you very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.